and welcome to another week of the show. Coming up this week, WWE debuts some new titles, and they're really just reskins of old titles. We'll talk about that a little bit more. We got some more Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Who qualifies for the Money in the Bank? And Kevin Owens and Gunther puts on a pay-per-view level match on a Monday Night Raw. All that and so much more coming up. The show starts now.
Man, was that an ugly title.
I mean, it's Roman Reigns' title, just white.
Yeah. It's pretty pathetic, actually. So does this mean that, well, I guess we'll get into it.
Yeah, there's gonna be some questions.
Real quick, just wanted to go over the developmental. I started watching NXT. I don't know why, but I did. This was Baron Corbin's first week. He's a free agent now, so he can go to NXT. I guess that's what that means. So theoretically, does that mean that Brock Lesnar can go to NXT?
He could, but he won't.
Of course not. But this is just really weird. But so he walks in and the door is open and then you can see the cars like in the parking lot, and then the room he's in is like super fucking small, and he's just walking in like he just owns the place when he really should have been crying like an hour beforehand because he's been diminished so low. Like, think about it. He's been walking into stadiums and shit, and then now he's like basically walking into somebody's classroom.
Yeah, demoted.
Other highlight I have is Dragunov comes across as a closeted gay German dude that pays to have women walk on his face with those stiletto heels. The Creed brothers are dead to me. After they did a suplex. They did this suplex spot where one of them holds the dude in the air for a long period of time. Then he hands it off to the other guy, and then he hands it off back to the original guy so he can finish the suplex. And it lasted forever. And then the guy taking the suplex didn't even try to struggle or kick out of it or anything. He's just fucking hung there like an idiot. But yeah, they're dead to me. I'm done with it. The Rock's relative, whatever her name is, she's awful. She wrestled like this little tiny sprite with pigtails, and she's got some muscle, but she's still like 3'8".
I think you're referring to Ivy Nile.
Sure.
She's a former gladiator. Remember that show, Gladiators?
She's like 2 foot. She's
I'm
two
just
foot
saying,
two
she's.
foot five. What is she gonna? What is she gonna gladiate?
I don't know. She was. She used to be one of the gladiators.
That's pathetic. But anyway, so the
She's
Rock's
probably roughing
relative.
people.
What's that?
I said, I bet she was roughing people. You know, those gladiators. They didn't. They weren't playing games.
How rough can she be? Have you ever been like, you ever been like punched in the face by a child?
No, can't say that.
Yeah, I've been hit in the face by a child. It doesn't hurt that bad, and I would imagine that that's what it would be with this little chick. But anyway, so the Rock's relative is very awkward and gangly, and while she shouldn't be wrestling this little tiny girl, she should be just wringing her neck out. But I just wasn't impressed. Like, I remember when the first time I saw Rocky Maivia and he did the little cheetah, the fucking cheetah dive thing. Remember the cheetah driver or whatever the fuck he had? I was into him. I thought he was cool. This chick, she doesn't have it. I noticed that Mustafa is excited about the possibility of competing for Wesley's title. And that makes me wonder how hard Gunther hit him.
He smacked him back to NXT, I say.
Yeah, he was very excited. Like, oh, Wesley, I can't wait to maybe have the opportunity to earn the right to wrestle for whatever title you have. I don't even know what title it is. It looks like the old cruiserweight title.
It would be called the North American Championship, and it is their secondary title. Um, I saw some clips of him, Mustafa, on NXT. It looks like he's trying to create a rift between
Tyler Bate and
Tyler Bate and
Wesley.
Wesley. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe it's just. I mean, I don't even know. What is he, a heel or is he a face right now, Mustafa? Because he was heel until that portion of the heartfelt promo before Brock Lesnar told him to get a life.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great. I think he's just trying to find his footing and seeing what sticks. The crowd seems to like him. He's entertaining. I mean, we'll get to his match. Was it on SmackDown?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got something, but what that something is right now, I don't know. Did I lose you?
No.
Okay.
I thought you were moving on.
Oh yeah, I forgot this was my thing. So the idea of Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins is laughable. Um, Braun Braun Breaker reminds me of, remember that Mortal Kombat movie, um, with Johnny Cage? And he was the actor amongst all like the real martial artists that had like magical powers and shit.
Yeah, he was Johnny Cage.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Braun reminds me of. He's got athletic ability and he's got the look, but he to like as far as legitimacy, it's just all fabricated. You can kind of tell he's playing a character. And I think the beard, that little patchy, wispy beard that he has, is just, it makes him look just more generic and blah.
Oh, I don't know. I saw the beard and I thought, oh, is he gonna? Maybe he's gonna diet like his uncle.
If he does that, well, see, but he doesn't have the face for it. He doesn't have like that. I don't know. It looked like Rick and Scott have been punched in the face before. It doesn't look like Braun has.
I don't know. He looks tough to me. I don't
He
know.
might be. I'm sure he's tough. I'm not questioning his ability to kick somebody's ass. I'm just saying, has he kicked somebody's ass? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Seth Rollins is going to NXT to defend this new fabricated title.
Fabricated.
Yeah, it's a fabricated title. They just pulled it out of nowhere and gave it to Seth. Well, they didn't give it to Seth Rollins, but they gave it to somebody because nobody can beat Roman, remember? Nobody's going to beat Roman.
Yeah.
So we're going to take his 2 belts, turn it into 1, and then make it 2 belts again. But anyway, I just think it really diminishes the new title a little bit. He's already defending it on NXT.
He does. He is, and it does. Because of what I said to myself when I saw that this was happening, I'm like, would Roman ever go down to NXT and defend the title? No.
Exactly. That was my exact point. You'll never see Roman. You'll see Roman in the like sitting in the stands at NXT, maybe, but you won't see Roman defend his belt on NXT. You're not going to see Solo and Heyman in the 20-minute entrance.
Well, in that arena, it wouldn't be 20 minutes.
No,
The
not at all.
the thing's not that long. It'd be like 7 minutes.
He'd have to circle around the ring a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, the timing would be all off because the entrance ramp is so short.
I do kind of like it because it kind of reminds me of studio wrestling, where it's just like the fans are kind of almost on top of them, and it's just there's not a lot of them, so you can. It's not hard to tell how the crowd is reacting, because sometimes with a big crowd, it's hard to tell if they're cheering or booing sometimes, or if they're even
Yeah.
reacting to or how they're reacting. But with a smaller crowd, it's easier to tell. Obviously, it doesn't look as impressive, but what can you do? I do wish they went back to the black and gold presentation, because that looked like it was something. This just looks like, I don't know, Saturday main event or something like that.
Yeah, and while we are talking about NXT, it is worth noting that Nick Khan, who I don't even know his position anymore, he used to be CEO, but he's not CEO anymore.
Oh, he's not.
But
He's not.
or maybe he
Oh,
is.
okay. Yeah. You're right.
So yeah, I don't even know what he does anymore.
Right.
But he did an interview, and he said that they are trying to make NXT a third brand as opposed to a developmental brand. So that is why we're seeing like the Mustafas and the Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins going to defend the title. And then if you fast forward to SmackDown, you see Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown. It's all starting to bleed together. That's because they're trying to make NXT a third brand, aka the negotiations of the contract is coming up, and they want to keep NXT on the USA Network. So they're trying to do everything they can to boost the rating.
Okay. I don't mind a third brand. I like the fact that there's wrestling on NXT. So hopefully, if they make it a third brand, the quality of wrestling only goes up. They need to get rid of that little tiny girl, though. And
Well,
for what it's worth, the corporate website for WWE says Nick Khan's still the CEO,
there you go. Oh, if it says it on the website, then he's still CEO.
or at least this website says corporate WWE.
Yeah. Okay. So he's still CEO. So yes, CEO Nick Khan says they are trying to make NXT the third brand.
Right on.
We've already been down this road. I just want to point out, but they're doing it again.
And I don't know if it'll work, because I think they had something um, back in the takeover days. Now it's just, I think it's kind of like when hockey went on strike. Hockey was kind of popular, and then they went on strike, and then nobody gave a shit. People realized, like, oh, I don't need to watch hockey.
Well, they have to, if they want to make it a third brand, they have to make it a third brand. You can't have these NIL, no wrestling background coming in and they're learning the ropes. That's what makes it developmental. If you want to make it a third brand, now you need to go back to what you did with NXT Black and Gold. You need to bring in like the indie veterans, people who've honed in on their craft, and now they come to NXT and then they're making it a legit third brand. They're just learning how to work the camera. They're just learning how to, time working on WWE television.
Here's the
That's
thing,
what you
though.
need to do.
Who is there to sign that they either don't have or AEW has?
Well, there's plenty of people to sign. I mean, I'm not like big on the, I'm not big on the indies, but I'm sure there's plenty of people to sign.
Okay.
There's Jacob Fatu. He's out there. I mean, he needs to be in Bloodline, so we're gonna just cancel him out. I'm sure there's a lot of people in New Japan that you can sign. They were interested in Switchblade Jay White. He signed it with AEW. They were interested in the Aussie Open, signed with AEW. So they've been Will Osprey. I'm sure his contract is going to come up soon. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of bidding war there. He'll probably go to AEW too. Um, there's another there's another guy, and it's not Okada, but it's the other one from Japan. What's the
Oh,
other big one? Not Okada, but the other big one.
Okada's the only one I can think of. But they've
It's
gone the
either
New Japan.
Ibushi or Tanahashi. One or the other.
Probably not Tanahashi. He's too old.
Then it's Ibushi. Ibushi, he's a free agent essentially, so they could go after him. I'm sure there's people down in Triple I.
Oh, Coda. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people down in Triple A. I'm sure there's people in MLW.
AAA doesn't necessarily or doesn't really translate in the States. Del Rio might be the only recent exception.
Well, I'm just giving you an examples. There's promotions. NWA, they can get people from NWA.
They
I don't
need
know
a
who.
they need to develop their own people though.
What about the National Treasure, Nick Aldis? Now he signed with TNA or whatever Impact.
Impact
You
with
could have got you
Naomi.
could have brought him in.
They're changing the world at Impact. Him and Naomi.
I'm
Or
sure they are.
Trinity. I'm sorry. Trinity.
Trinity Fatu. I'm sure they are. There's people, the internet people are big on Impact. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
just
caught dead watching it, but
I can't tell you how many times I'm walking around and I just see all these kids wearing TNA, Trinity, Nick Aldis shirts.
well, I'm just saying, people are really into Impact. There's those people. I mean, they're not getting like million rating or anything, but there's people into them.
It's not there. There's those people. There's that person.
There's the 10 people that are in the Impact.
All right, you want to get into Raw?
Well, hold on. I just want to
Oh,
say one thing after I shit on Impact. One thing that they are
yeah.
doing that is good. So let's bring a little positivity. They have a YouTube channel. Impact Wrestling does, and you can subscribe to their membership, which is like $3 a month, and it gives you all the impacts and all the pay-per-views, and that's for like $3 a month. So they're utilizing their YouTube membership as a way to sign up for all the impact shows. So there
Is
is
it
that positivity.
all the shows from when they first started?
Yeah, their whole
Huh.
thing. So for $4 you can get everything impact. But
Whoa! You said $3. It's $3 or $4. That's a dollar increase.
I think it's like $3.99 or something like that.
You said $3 flat. You trying to
Well,
scam us, Tyson?
this is also through YouTube, so
You trying to
there's
scam
that
us?
too. They got, YouTube's got to take their money. Getting that information for you right now, though. Let me see.
While you're doing that, so what'd you think of Monday Night Raw?
Monday Night Raw was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And spoiler, it was a Vince McMahon show, or Vince McMahon was backstage. So, they have changed. So it's, first of all, Impact is so you get, for $5 a month, $4.99,
That's
you get the catalog and all their pay-per-views.
so $5.99,
$4.99.
$4.99. Okay. You realize you started at $3.
I know. Well, I'm just saying.
Then it went from $3.99.
Well, I'm just saying, it's not a lot. So that is a positive for them. Like,
Maybe
you pay them pennies and you get everything.
if we take your word for it, we'll never know what the real price is. That is a good deal, though. I mean, it's pretty convenient too. If you're gonna have everything, it's probably a cost saving for them. They don't have to maintain like a website and shit.
Yep, doing it all through YouTube. By the way, YouTube takes their money out of that, so and they don't even get all $5 of it. I think YouTube takes 30% of the membership, something like that. So, yeah. Anyway, I
So
think
we liked
NWA
Raw.
should have done something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, did like Raw.
they
It
did.
was,
NWA. I don't know if they. You can't do something like that. That's NWA's too. It's too spread out. It'd be kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's kind of like, you know how all the McDonald's around the country are the same, but they're all kind of different.
yeah.
It's kind of like that with the NWA. And they had their like little dispute. It's just you couldn't go back to the very start of it, and some stuff is just
Oh,
lost.
talking about the back catalog.
Yeah, they had their weekly show on the YouTube. I'm not sure about the pay per view. I think the pay per view was either on the Fight app or um, they did a some sort of stream that you had to pay for. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, let's talk about shows that matter.
Yeah.
So Monday Night Raw. Yes, it was a good Monday Night Raw. Before the show started, we had the notes that Vince McMahon was backstage. Surprise, surprise! They were in Connecticut. They were in Hartford, Connecticut. So like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Titan Towers, and it's a big thing that Vince McMahon in the state that they're in, the same state right down the street that he was at the show.
Well, apparently he was giving notes and making changes remotely. So I can't imagine why they would be surprised that he would physically show up, especially if it's in his hometown.
Yeah, it's like a, I don't know how far it is, but I know it ain't like an hour.
And
What was
I
it, like 20, 30 minutes away from Titan Towers, the headquarters, and he's the guy who's in charge.
right,
Of course he's
he,
going to show up.
if he even left.
Yeah.
And guess what? He's the boss. So whether you like it or not, he's going to be at his own company.
Yeah, I know. What kind of You got these geeks. Oh, Vince McMahon's back is going to be a bad show. Like, he's in charge. Of course, he's overseeing this stuff.
Right.
Like, what kind of boss would you be if you're in charge and then you have no idea what's going on? Oh no, this guy, he runs everything. Triple H is in charge. I don't know who's on the roster now. Do we still got Brock Lesnar? Like, come on. Yeah, he has his eyes and ears on everything. Now, I will say, I still don't think he would. He's in the weeds enough to like know who Ricochet is, or you know, have creative input on what Mustafa Ali's doing. But yeah, he knows enough of what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, I he didn't even know who Shelton Benjamin was, I guess. So I can see him not knowing Ricochet or Mustafa.
Yeah, no, this wasn't in the report. I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense that he would know who they are.
Right.
But that's like the that's like the CEO. That's like I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg knowing who the little lowly janitor. Well, the calls. Let me take back. I don't want to slander janitors here, but it's like he knows who the cleaning lady is that cleans the cafeteria. Like he doesn't know who that is. Probably didn't even see her. I don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't either.
I'm just saying
Let's get into Raw. Vince
that
was
was
back.
that was relevant to Raw.
I get that, but we're going on a tangent. Let's let's stick to the script. Vince's old ass is back. He probably did some rewrites. He was physically there because they were in Connecticut.
Yes. The whole point of it is that Vince was back in the building and you had people, so this whole narrative that Vince is bad, Triple H is good. Well, Vince was there and it was a good show, so there is that. But I did miss the start of the show, so why don't you fill us in with what happened at the beginning?
Well, Rollins opens up. They did, I think it was about 3 minutes. I skipped forward, and that's when the O's stopped. And Rollins says it's been 2 years since the title has been defended on Raw. That's 2 years too long. Then he puts Priest over. He said that they're good, but they just ain't him. And then Priest and Finn Balor come out. And I immediately skipped it because Balor encouraged the crowd to start singing Seth's song again. So I was done with that.
Well, there you go. So obviously
So
there was an open challenge. Seth Rollins, he had laid the open challenge out and said, "When's the last time the title was defended on a Monday Night Raw? I'm issuing an open challenge." Damian Priest answered, and we got the match. I did gather from watching the rest of the show that at some point Rollins swindled Damian Priest into saying he was going to go at it alone without
uh,
any interference.
actually, I believe that they're kind of. It seems like that they're putting their toe in the water as far as making Priest a face, because he kind of did that on his own.
Okay.
He wanted to beat Seth Rollins without Judgment Day and Ripley and stuff, because Rollins he mentioned it, but it wasn't a manipulation. into Judgment Day not being there. It was more like a, you know what, you're right. I can do this on my own. At least that's how I got it. Rollins was wearing this ridiculous gold suit. I know, like, everything he wears is ridiculous, but this, like, it was head to toe gold. And it's very distracting.
As it usually is. Yeah.
But yeah, you saw the, did you see the main event?
Yes.
So you saw the exchange Priest had with Balor?
Yeah, when he came out and he was like, "What are you doing here?"
Right. So that, I mean, to me, that would be more of a Priest wanted Judgment Day to not be there versus Priest getting tricked into Judgment Day not being there. Because if he was tricked, then he'd be relieved that they came out anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe they're building to a Priest babyface run. I still think it's a little too soon, possibly, for that, but
Yeah, we'll see.
yes, we shall see. So, the first thing that I tuned into, and I almost wanted to tune right back out, was I turned the show on and we have Becky Lynch's music playing.
Yeah,
Out comes.
I skipped that because we just saw her talk to Priest and Balor.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Well, she comes out and she is going to a Money in the Bank qualifier match. Opponent being Sonya Deville. This is why I say I almost turned it right back off, because there's no way Sonya Deville is beating Becky Lynch. Obviously, Becky Lynch does win this. During the match, we did have Zoe Stark come out with Trish Stratus. They were on the entrance ramp trying to create a distraction. So we were building to, Becky Lynch is overcoming all the odds.
Were they trying to create a distraction? It looked like they were just standing there like idiots.
They were just standing there. They never came down to the ring either.
Yeah. That didn't make any sense to me. Why are you going to come out there? Can't you just watch from the back if you're going to do that? How are you going to assess anything from that view?
Or maybe they were just getting a close up and they weren't trying to distract her. They were just getting a close up and they just wanted her to know that they were watching.
I can't imagine how you would have a better view there than you would on if you watch from like the monitor or something. Think about it. They're standing on the entrance ramp. They have one vantage point. And they wrestle to cater to the hard camera anyway.
Well, I'm just saying they wanted her to know that they wanted her to know that they were watching. And if they were in the back, she wouldn't have known that.
I guess it just
they're playing mind games.
Okay.
But yeah, them being out there did nothing. Becky Lynch still wins with a manhandle slam. Goodbye, Sonya Deville. Becky Lynch qualifies for the Money in the Bank, which I don't think she will win. And as I say, and I'm going to say it every week until we get there, tune into our prediction show to find out my official pick. And also Harry's official pick. Both picks will be there.
Yeah. I get to pick two this time.
Yeah. After that match, we had a Bloodline recap showing what happened back on SmackDown with Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso. If you watched our show last week, you know the recap, so we will move on into Gunther and Kevin Owens. So we're going to get a match here, but before the match, we have a backstage segment where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they are talking backstage. Enter Imperium.
Well, Zayn says he isn't one to say he told you so, but it's nice to see the Usos do what they should have done a long time ago. Well, it was actually Jimmy, but we're still trying to hear about Jay's decision because the whole week has been building around Jay choosing the bloodline or Jimmy, his brother, his twin. Of course, Kevin and Sammy are interested in it.
They're invested, yes.
And then he said that it's not his problem anymore, even though it's been his problem since WrestleMania because he's made it his problem since WrestleMania. Then Kaiser interrupts.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And the look on Owen's face is priceless. It looks like he is so done with Imperium. Kaiser says the bloodline isn't their problem, but as long as they are the tag team champions, Imperium will be their problem. Owens is pissed off about them showing up without being, didn't you learn last week? You gotta have your name mentioned before you can just show up. You're breaking the rules.
Yes.
And then Owen said, "Don't you have some turtleneck shopping to do?"
He does look like he should be in a turtleneck.
I know, right? Turtleneck with glasses or something. Those like
Circular glasses.
right. And then finally, Gunta arrives. He tells Owens that he needs to control his temper and that he's undisciplined. See, I am disciplined. Or I'm a disciplined man. And it looks like I need to teach you discipline. And that just, I don't know. I thought that was kind of a weaker Guntherism this week.
Yeah, I thought he could have delivered it a little bit better. Like, you lack discipline. Well, guess what? I'm a discipliner.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck you in the ass and make you hump or something.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna go with the yeah. You're in luck. You lack discipline, but you're in luck because I'm the person who teaches discipline. I'm gonna teach you some discipline. So yeah, Kevin Owens, he's like, wait, it sounds like you're calling me up for a match. That's great. He walks out to the ring. His music hits. Or he was like, let Adam Pierce know. Or no, he didn't say that. That was later. He was like, yeah, sounds like you're challenging me. Let's go. So he walks out to the ring. Gunther shortly follows. And we have a Gunther versus Kevin Owens match.
And boy, was it a fantastic match.
Yes, there was a lot of things here. They gave them time to work. Uh, and with that time to work, they proved that this is easily, and I don't pat myself on the back or anything, but I did call this a few weeks ago when this all started. I said I'm looking forward to the Kevin Owens Gunther match. They proved that this is a pay per view level match.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was kind of disappointed that it did happen on Raw, and you could say really with no build, it was just an impromptu match.
Well, no, there's been a build. Remember that Imperium, they first approached Zayn and Owens, and then they did the whole, well, we won't be disrespected. Then the next week, Gunther said, hey, I heard you disrespecting my boys last week. We ain't going to stand for that. And then, the following week, they had a altercation. So it's been building.
Yes.
But yeah, you did call it. And it's easily a pay-per-view quality match. I think the finish tainted a lot of it.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the finish. Um,
for a
I
lot of reasons.
personally, yeah. So the finish ends in a roll up, and again, they got like 15, 20 minutes to work this match, so plenty of time. It was slow paced, hard hitting, what you expect out of a Gunther and Kevin Owens match. It was more of a, I don't know, wrestling match. There wasn't any like flips and flops.
It
It
wasn't as
was
hard hitting as his other matches, though. I don't know if Kevin Owens was about that life.
well, Kevin Owens did a lot to avoid like the chops and
Yeah.
stuff, but there was like a shotgun drop kick and the
Oh my god.
clotheslines.
Right. I mean, when he took the chop, he took him well, and he made Gunther look like $1,000,000.
Yeah, I mean there was points where it was almost uncomfortable to watch how Gunther was beating
Right.
like he's clotheslining him and it's just like oof. And then Kevin Owens is just like dropping to a heap.
Oh, and
It's
that
like, man, this is like uncomfortable a little bit. I love it.
that part where he just stomped on his neck and he just laughed.
Yeah.
I love me some Gunther, but I can't stand the fact that, okay, fine, you have a ref bump. Up to this point, at least from what I've seen, Gunther has not needed Vinci or Kaiser. So I have a problem with them just all of a sudden interfering out of nowhere.
Yeah. That
I
was
also
true.
have I also have a problem with the roll up. Gunther, the ring general, does not win by a fucking roll up.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the finish. But as I thought about it, this technically was champion versus champion, so they did want to protect their tag team champion. You could argue that he shouldn't have been in the match then, but I think that's why they did it. But yeah, this should not have ended in a roll up. Gunther is out of character for him to win via roll up
And with interference.
and with interference.
And I get he's a heel, but I mean, thus far his character has been pretty honorable. He's just been a dick.
Yeah, he's the match sacred. He's wanting to bring the honor back to this great sport. That's not winning via distraction roll ups. So very out of character. But you know, it's a one off, so I guess it's not too bad. If it starts happening like every week, then it's a problem. But
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm waiting for the WWE to just completely fuck him up, especially if he's on Vince's wheelhouse. But we'll see.
I mean, people say that. Yeah, I thought about that. We even had that report on the show that Vince was gonna bury Gunther, and I thought about it, and I said, wait a minute, Gunther's undefeated for one, so even under Vince, he was undefeated. That's for one. Number two, Vince was the one that put the Intercontinental title on him. That was still under Vince's regime.
Right.
Now, maybe it's true that he was souring on him, but he still started the whole push of it.
I'm not even talking about that. It's just I don't know if Vince's creative direction is as it suits Gunther. Vince is more entertainment. I think if we're going based on the premise that SmackDown is Triple H's and Raw is Vince's, that I think Triple H would know what to do with him from a wrestling standpoint.
That's true. Now, you'll probably not like to hear this, but there was this little conversation. I wasn't in it, but this conversation did happen on the Twitter. They started to have the conversation that maybe Gunther is boring.
Of course, he's boring.
Like maybe he does need the sports entertainment part of it. Him just
No.
putting on big matches or banger matches. Maybe that's not the best for TV, and maybe
Are you
that's
fucking kidding me? The best thing that he did last week was tell Riddle that he was going to embarrass him, and that's fun for him. I'm going to beat the fuck out of you, and it's going to bring me so much joy.
I'm not saying I agree.
That's
I'm
the
just telling
dumbest
you.
shit. People on the internet are so fucking retarded.
I'm just telling you what the Twitterverse is saying, what the
Gunther
the IWC is saying. So they're starting to turn on the whole Gunther ideas because they're saying he's boring.
Gunther is
But
easily the best thing in wrestling right now. The best thing.
I was just gonna say, but we've curated an audience that are not idiots, and they know that that is not true. And Gunther, yes, is s- right behind Roman Reigns. He's the best thing on TV.
I think he's better than Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns obviously has the best story, but I would rather watch a Gunther match over a Roman Reigns match any day of the week. That's just me though.
Well, we're talking about matches. I'm talking about like, yeah, story wise.
Yeah, well, Gunther's not in a story. He's
Yeah.
just he kind of seems to be bouncing around telling people he's got to beat the fuck out of him, and he does it. How is that boring? Gunther's a big Austrian son of a bitch that just tosses people around and imposes his will. And he says he's going to win, and he wins. And he takes himself seriously, and he takes what he does seriously. How is that boring? I'm sorry that he doesn't come out in a fucking box of Fruit Loops
with with painted nails.
with painted fucking nails and flip flops and a goddamn scooter.
Oh, now we're doing a direct hit. We were just talking in general. Now it seems like we're on a direct hit here.
Yeah, and we have a world champion that has painted fucking fingernails, and you're telling me that Gunther's boring.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have the O. He just has,
That's not his
his
fault.
Sounded
He does have a bad theme song. Gunther, he's Gunther. It sounds like something South Park would write.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad. They should. I was a fan of the Symphony 9, I believe was the name of it.
Something like that, yeah.
But and the funny thing is I went and watched on like the WWE's YouTube channel his old entrance with Symphony 9,
Mm-hmm.
and really, and you can see in like, because when you go on YouTube you can see like where the audience drops off, and it's right after the little opening notes. Everybody drops off, so you get the dun 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 dun, and then like it'll play through, and then yeah, everybody drops off. So it's like, oh well, I mean that is the only part of the song you need though.
True.
Like just loop that through.
Yeah, he definitely needs a theme song makeover.
But yeah, it's just something interesting. I saw
That,
a brewing.
that's
I
not
thought I would
interesting.
mention it.
That's stupidity, and yeah, that's all I can say.
Well, we're in our own universe. We have our own likes and dislikes. Our fans, they have their own dislikes and dislikes. They like what we like, of course, because
Yeah,
they're smart fans.
and that's great, but you cannot say that Gunther is objectively awesome and great. You cannot tell me that he's boring. And the fact that his quote unquote boring is part of his is part of what makes him so great. He's a fucking wrestler. He doesn't dance around. He doesn't have some fucking chick from New York saying she's Puerto Rican. He doesn't have a solo cup. He doesn't fucking, I don't know, put face paint on. He doesn't have a fucking deer losing matches for him.
He's not sports entertainment,
No,
not yet.
Kaiser is.
Yeah,
So
Kaiser
Kaiser,
himself is the sports entertainment act of it.
yeah. So Kaiser is like his little, I don't know, manifestation of sports entertainment. He can do the goofy shit for Gunther.
Well, speaking of Kaiser, we go to a backstage segment of with Matt Riddle. He's being interviewed. He says something ridiculous. He says, "I'm tired of." Now he says this. I'm tired of Gunther cheating every week to retain his title.
See, he doesn't even watch the fucking show.
And as we,
He's too
yeah,
busy smoking dope.
as you said, as I said, the thing about Gunther is he doesn't cheat. He wins clean. That's his whole thing.
Yeah,
And
he's
here,
a heel who wins clean.
yeah, and here we got Matt Riddle talking about he's cheating every week, and I'm tired of it. Like, what are you even talking about? Who wrote that into the script? Vince. But yeah, he says that he's tired of Gunther cheating every week, and in walks Kaiser and Vinci, and Kaiser says that he should stop disrespecting the Ring General. And Matt Riddle says, "What are you going to do about it?" And then Kaiser, he says, "No, what are you going to do about it?" As he pushes Matt Riddle on his shoulders. Now, mind you, there's two people of Imperium here. He pushes Riddle and says, "What are you going to do about it?" And Riddle attacks Kaiser. He throws him over a production crate. And then he gets Giovanni Vinci in a ankle lock. And you have officials, they run in, they try to pull Matt Riddle off of the ankle lock. He won't let go. He won't let go. And then they finally pull him away from the ankle lock. So we got this more vicious side of Riddle. It wasn't the
Fuck. That means we're getting
bro. Yeah.
Gunther and Riddle now.
Yeah, it's coming.
I was hoping that maybe because Owens and Gunther had such a barn burner that they would kind of forget and let Riddle go sniff cocaine off of a porn star's ass.
Which he would enjoy.
He would enjoy, yeah. I would enjoy it too because he would be off my fucking TV screen.
Well, he's posting the daily Instagram pictures of him and the prawn stars left and right. He's got like,
good for him.
He had a picture with like two of them talking about he was about to have a threesome. Why he's putting this on the internet, I don't know, but he did.
Charlie Sheen had porn stars too. Look what happened to him. Good luck, Riddle.
Yeah, so that was the backstage segment, but I do want to say, we get serious Riddle here, so that was a refreshing sight. Although he still had his nails painted, so there's that.
And he still has that surfer boy lisp thing.
Well, he didn't do the bro thing. But yeah, he has, I don't know. I don't know. He just reminds me of a modern day Rob Van Dam.
No, Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam, I could see him beat. And don't get me wrong, I know Matt Riddle's a former MMA guy. I know he can legit kick somebody's ass. But as a fan, third party outside looking in, Rob Van Dam looks like he could kick somebody's ass. Matt Riddle looks like he would get his ass whooped. I don't believe that Matt Riddle can kick anybody's ass.
I don't know. I mean, you see the painted nails, and then that takes points away. But
painted nails, the flip flops,
gloves on,
the Daisy Duke shorts, the hat, the mouth, the mouth breathing.
He just looks like a surfer.
He looks
stoner.
He looks like he rides the short bus.
This is them stoners look like.
No. He looks non-threatening.
Yeah, because he's a stoner. He's a lover, not a fighter. He loves the prawn stars, has threesomes with them.
Just yeah. Rob Van Dam, on the other hand, he looked like he could, like he's been in a bar fight or two. He may have, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little pretty,
Rob
if
Van
I can
Dam,
say that. Yeah,
he was a
because
good looking dude, but he wasn't. He's more rugged than Matt Riddle, I think.
the funny thing is, what I saw in him was John Claude Van Damme. I was like, it's just John Claude Van Damme with the long hair. Oh, his name was Rob Van Dam, so
Right.
maybe they already happened to know that fact. But yeah. Anyway, moving on from both of them. Um, Next up, so we get a package, a video package for Katana Chance and Caden Carter, the
To
life of the party. Huh?
I go ahead. I just giggled because I didn't watch any of this.
Yeah. So they're the life of the party, and they're coming to Raw soon. Well, soon was right after the commercial because we had Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. They were talking up the fact that they were the new champions. In walks Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, and they challenge them to a match. Ronda Rousey, she makes a little joke and says uh, something about the short hour or something. I don't know. She called them both short, and she said, "Oh, you want to do a trial by fire?" And she says, "You know what? It's your funeral." Accepts the challenge, and then we get Caden Carter and Katana Chance versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. This was a pretty good showcase match for them. They did end up losing, of course, to the champions,
You're
but
joking, right?
no, it was a good showcase match for them.
Okay.
Like it showed the crowd what they were about. They got a lot of offense in this, but of course, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, they do what they do and they win. It's a non-title match, so there is that too. But all in all, uh, it was a good showing for them. Where they go from here, that remains to be seen because you started out facing the champions, so now you have to like go back down to the bottom and then work yourself back up to the champions. So it didn't make sense there, but
Oh, that whole division doesn't make sense right now.
it doesn't. But yes, we got the title. We got the non-title match. We got Ronda Rousey winning. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler winning. After that, we go to a little three-way talking segment. We got Ricochet, Bronson Reed, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Uh, so we're about to get a match between Ricochet and Shinsuke Nakamura. Bronson Reed he enters frame as Ricochet is warming up, getting ready for his music to hit in Gorilla, and he talks about how Ricochet's lucky that he qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he could have beat him in the Battle Royal, and he knows next time they go one on one that he'll beat Ricochet. Ricochet calls Bronson Reed homeboy for some reason, and said, "Didn't you?" Yes, homeboy, and this, by the way, we're 2023, and he's calling people homeboy.
Well, he doesn't seem built like a homeboy type of guy.
Ricochet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Yeah, he doesn't seem like a Ricochet, a homeboy. I mean, yeah, you would expect like anyway. Montez Ford to be homeboying people,
Yeah.
not Ricochet.
Yeah, if I heard Ricochet on the phone, I would think his name's Dennis or something. Clayton.
I don't know what he is.
I think he's Mexican.
Oh, well, he still really shouldn't be homeboying people. But yeah, so he says that enter Shinsuke Nakamura, and Bronson Reed says that he almost beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke says that he qualified for Money in the Bank, and next time he knows that he'll beat Bronson Reed again. So then they go out to the ring, Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This match ends in a no contest. Bronson Reed, obviously, interferes. Uh, there was a point, and so before the interference, we're getting this match, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. I guess another event special. We're getting a banger match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricochet. Such a Vince match. Obviously not. That's a Triple H match written all over it. You know, two of Triple H's guys just going at it for no reason other than they're both being qualified.
Well, they kind of have a beef. They're both yeah, they're both in the Money in the Bank match. They kind of do that all the time. We're gonna be in this
Yeah,
match later, so let's have a one-on-one match or a tag team match.
yeah,
Just
and before the interference, as you would expect, it was a good match. And Bronson Reed, he interferes. At the end of the match, Ricochet jumps on his back to try to fight off the attack. With Ricochet on his back, he splashes. Now, not the tsunami, just a splash to Shinsuke Nakamura. And then he uh, gets Ricochet in position for the tsunami. He tsunamis Ricochet. The crowd starts chanting one more time because, Shinsuke Nakamura is now laying there. And the crowd's chanting one more time. And Bronson Reed says, fuck you all, and leaves the ring. So, of course, of boos because he didn't tsunami Shinsuke Nakamura.
I'm
Um,
sorry, I missed that.
yeah. After that, we another Vince McMahon call. I'm sure
Wait,
we
wait,
get
wait,
a
wait, wait. Isn't so? Did Karrion Cross only wrestle Shinsuke once?
I think so.
So that was this big old like, I'm gonna get you, Shinsuke. I'm gonna steal you something from you.
Yeah, if I remember, it was just a one-off match.
Okay, because I know he's trying to get with AJ now. Okay,
Yeah, if I am correct on it, yes.
boy, that don't make any sense.
Well, he got drafted after that.
So
Oh no, wait, didn't he beat him before, and then that was the rubber match or the rematch? That wasn't the rubber. The rubber's the third match.
I don't think he beat him. I could be wrong. I don't know. I seem to remember only the one match.
I think I remember another match, but you could be right. One match. Um, yeah. So after that, and I'm sure it was another Vince McMahon call. We get a video package for Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano. Uh, basically reintroducing him to the audience because he's been out of action for a while.
He's
And
been he's been gallivanting around with Loomis and the Pixie Girl.
his wife, and yes, he has. But I think he was waiting for Tommaso Ciampa to get off of injury, which he is now. But yes, they aired a video package for Johnny Gargano, talking about all he's done in NXT and what he's going to do on the main roster, and the crowd hasn't seen anything yet. They're going to see why they call him Johnny Wrestling. Wrestling. And again, I'm sure that had Vince McMahon written all over it because, he loves him some Johnny Gargano.
He's his favorite wrestler.
Yeah. After that, we go to Miz TV. Miz TV, and his guest is Cody Rhodes. And this segment actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It was funny that the Miz was singing along to Cody's song. I thought that was hilarious. And he also said that Cody looked dashing, which I thought
He
was
did.
kind of funny. But then they introduced a surprise guest, and then I tuned out of it.
Yeah, so what was said here, I didn't get to write it down, so can't go tack for tack with what they were said.
Basically, isn't it kind of dumb that you challenge Brock Lesnar to fight you anywhere at any time after he broke your arm and he's beaten you and you barely beat him? And then Cody said that, well, I haven't quite heard that. I've heard, crazy and it's taken a lot of balls. And, well, you know a tiny little bit about that, don't you, Miz? Or no, he called him Mike. And then,
Yeah, and then he was like, and
Yeah.
here it's the Miz. You got it?
But yeah, that was the gist. And then Cody mentioned that, well, Brock is on his annual vacation. And then that's when Miz said, well, I like surprises. And we got a guest.
Yes, and I will admit I got debated here because as he was talking, he was like, this guy knows how to deal with the pressure of being a second generation superstar. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it was about to be Randy Orton.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Randy Orton for some reason, but yeah, it didn't. It was actually Dominic.
And then that was not awesome.
And Dominic comes out and he said some stuff. And that is how. And again, I didn't get to write it down, so sorry for that. But that's how pretty much the segment went. Of course, Dominic still is getting his nuclear heat. He's getting easily outside of the bloodline the most booze you can get in the industry right now. After this, we get Zoe Stark versus Natalia. It's a qualifier for Money in the Bank. Zoe Stark wins off of the Z360. She had help from Trish Stratus. Natalia was nursing a knee injury. I don't know from what because she doesn't wrestle. So she was injured in her knee, and they played this into the finish. Yeah, Trish Stratus attacked the knee of Natalia. That gave Zoe Stark the opening to hit the Z360. Goodbye, Natalia.
Goodbye, Natalia. Did she hurt her knee against Rhea?
No, maybe she did. I mean, it was like a 30-second match. I don't know
Yeah,
how she
no.
could have hurt her knee in 30
Right.
seconds. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know where the injury came in. Maybe she twisted her knee running for catering. Nothing.
Maybe. No, I was trying to think of one for myself. Maybe she twisted it making Tyson a sandwich.
There you go.
No? Okay.
Yeah, she was hurrying. Yeah, because he's about to be home, so she had to hurry up to get the sandwich made, and she twisted her knee, getting up off the couch, and then the sandwich wasn't made, and then she really was in trouble.
she
Oh,
had a,
bitch, my sandwich.
she had to army crawl to the kitchen to make sure that she got that damn sandwich made.
Yeah, because he comes in. Oh, bitch, where's my fucking sandwich?
He puts his neck brace on because he knows.
He starts to take off his belt. I don't know where we're going with this. We're gonna get off of it real quick. So we get Paul Heyman. He's out there next. Oh no, he's not out there. He's backstage. He starts to shill the Friday Night SmackDown. Says that Jey Uso will make his decision or else. So he's either gonna have to decide to join Roman Reigns or to stay with Jimmy.
He had a line where he said, "You can share a womb with your twin, but you're not as close as you are to your tribal chief.
Yeah,
Jay will choose his brother, Solo."
yeah, they are playing that up that he's gonna choose Solo. He will stand with his brother, that being Solo. Um, After that, in the share, they didn't even
Oh
have.
boy.
Yeah, they didn't even have a match. They attacked Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business,
And this is
before the
exactly what we
brawl.
were talking about last week, where how we were talking about how they were just doing nothing but squash matches and they needed somebody a little bit more credible. Now I know it's Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, but Shelton is a former champion. There is a name. There's name value there. It's not just nobodies that they just decimated.
Yeah, they're starting to move up the card slowly.
Right.
So I guess to mention, word on the street is there is another Saudi show coming up. So you can kind of see what they're building towards there. I'll let you fill in the blanks there.
I'm okay with it.
Now, the difference is the reports are that they're actually going to do the title change when this show happens. It's supposed to be in like September or something. But yeah, word is they're supposed to do the change because it'll make the people of Saudi happy or something.
Well, they're also high on Veer.
Yes, and they are high on Veer. Sangha, they're not necessarily high on him. I did notice that, and maybe it hasn't been like this, but in NXT he had like a big manly hairy chest. Now it's all shaved. That is eventism. He doesn't like the hairy chest. Likes it clean and shaven.
Yeah, they're not as, I guess it's hairy. They just do they look different. They're not as wild looking, I guess, would be the best way to, primitive there.
Yeah, because Vince doesn't like those hairy chests, but so yeah. And in NXT he had a pretty hairy, like a thick hairy chest,
So did you
all the way
see,
down, connected too. Yeah,
so after they beat the shit out of Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, he's rolling around on the apron, or not the apron, but the ring. He's coughing. You can hear him.
oh
and,
yeah,
and then Sangha just looks at him and goes, "Shut up!"
yeah, I heard that. I have that written down. Yeah, he Shelton Benjamin's hurt, and he's like, "Shut up."
Oh, they went up like a couple notches. I love that.
Yeah, that's paying attention to detail. That
Mm-hmm.
that reminded me of you get a whooping, and then your mom says, "You
I'll
better
give you
shut up,
something
or
to
I'm gonna
cry
give you
about.
something to cry about."
Yeah,
Yeah, you just did. Yeah, I was on that level.
yeah. I'm a huge fan of theirs now. Well, yeah, I continue to still be a huge fan of theirs. Them and Gunther, man. There's the only things keeping me going.
Well, like I said, there it's rumored that the show is going, or they're going back to Saudi in September. So at that point, we will be seeing them as the new champions. That is seemingly where they're going with all this.
Do you think they'll actually beat Owens and Zayn? Do you think they'll have it that long?
Yeah, I don't really see who else would beat them in between.
Pretty deadly.
I don't think that's going to be happening.
What about the Brawling Brutes?
No, no, no.
No. How about the OC? They showed up for some reason.
That I could. I mean, they haven't been booked to be champions, but I could see them being champions. The Good Brothers, like they've been champions before, so they're, I don't know, grandfathered into being able to be champions.
Hasn't Pretty Deadly been champions too?
In NXT,
Oh, okay.
they've just been on the roster like 3 weeks. But we move into our main event of Monday Night Raw. The main event, of course, Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest, World Heavyweight title on the line. Uh, I didn't get the match time. I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes also. Good little match between the two of them.
It was all
You knew
right.
you knew Damian Priest wasn't going to win because Seth Rollins just won the title a week ago.
Right.
But that
I think
all being said,
that's kind of what tainted this one for me because I knew that Priest wasn't going to win.
yeah, and that's always the trick with the title matches. Like when you get a new champion,
Especially when they were on Raw.
yeah. Well, what I'm saying, when you get a new champion, their first title defense, they're not losing it. They're not even losing maybe the first, or the first, second, third, maybe even the fourth. They're not losing any of those. But then as you get later into the run, now it starts to get more credible that they can lose. So then at the at that point in the run, it gets more interesting. So like 2 months from now, if Seth Rollins is still defending the titles, well, now he's going to have Mr. Money in the Bank chasing him because let's face it, Mr. Money in the Bank will be cashing in on the World Heavyweight Champion. He's not going to cash in on Roman Reigns, and so that's going to be leering. So at some point Seth Rollins' reign is likely coming to an end due to the cash in of Money in the Bank. But before then, all those challengers around that then become more credible as that they can win.
Okay.
So yeah, we get the world heavyweight title match. Seth Rollins win. Post match, we have Finn Balor. He stares down Seth Rollins, and it looks like for Money in the Bank, we are going Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. It'll be a nice callback to the initial Universal title match, the inaugural, and it's in London, so Finn Balor.
And they're kind of teasing dissension between at least Finn Balor and Priest. So it'd be interesting to. I mean, I won't watch it because it's the Judgment Day, but I'm sure some people will be interested to see what happens with them.
Yeah, and we already kind of talked about that. I don't know why they're teasing that, but it seems that they are. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. Maybe they do take out Priest, put him as a babyface, do a babyface run, and then they replace him with someone.
I will say he's kind of growing on me.
Priest.
Yeah.
I
I
like that he
still can't
has
get.
like elements of the old school ingrained in him. He's a big Razor Ramon guy, you can tell.
Obviously, yeah.
That's what I like about him.
I still can't get past the fact that he lost to Bad Bunny.
Well, that'll always be on the record.
It will. That will always taint him. That will always keep him from being a Hall of Famer in my book.
Unless Bad Bunny's a Hall of Famer, which he will be. You know, they have that celebrity branch of
Yeah.
the Hall of Fame.
No.
But it'll be on his reel. He brought, you know, when Bad Bunny is in the Hall of Fame, they'll talk about that match. Anyway, that's your that's your Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. And again, pretty good show. Vince was backstage, so that kind of threw the idea into a loop that, you know, Vince is bad, Triple H is good, but now you have Triple H, or I'm sorry, Vince there, and it was actually a decent show. So that's interesting for them.
Although the bar wasn't very high.
It wasn't, but still, the fact that Vince was there and people enjoyed the show, it's like, oh, eat your words. And
It seemed like
and
there.
I even,
I was gonna say it just seemed like there was a lot less silly shit, and then like everything that, well, not everything, but the stuff that we saw had a purpose. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. It wasn't just there to be there.
right, yep. And you did have some minor Triple H, I'm sorry, Vince isms, but they weren't overbearing, I would say.
Like what?
What? I pointed it out during the show. So Sanga having Sanga having his chest shaved, everybody having
Oh,
shaved chest.
okay.
Uh, I guess that was really the only thing. The other things, I it was ironic Vinceism. Oh, you got a Johnny Gargano video package. I'm sure Vince was in control of that,
Gotcha. Okay.
and Ricochet getting mic time. But yeah, Kevin Owens and Gunther having a 20-minute match. Because, you know, Vince loves his wrestling matches.
He loves a good wrestling bout.
Yeah. But we move on to Friday Night SmackDown.
And we get
Like,
another Bloodline recap.
yes. Another recap. Because they love their recaps. Uh, surprise, surprise. I missed the beginning of this show as well.
Wow. Okay.
I
Well, we get
have a hard time catching the start time for some reason.
Heyman and Solo in the ring, and then immediately Jey interrupts. Jey says he can't forgive Solo for stabbing Jimmy in the back. Heyman says it's not anyone's fault but Jimmy's because he made up his own mind, not only for himself but for Jey. And then he asks Jey, "Did Jimmy let you know beforehand that he was going to attack Roman, or did he just do it?" Jimmy has always resented you because he knows that Roman wants to groom you to be the next tribal chief. Jimmy's known since day one and has resented you ever since. There's no more tag team known as the Usos. Right hand man Jey Uso is going to bring the gold back to the bloodline and beat Theory. And then I basically need to know that you're with us now. And then Heyman goes for a handshake. And Jay, after a big, long, dramatic pause, he goes, I'll get back to you on with that. Then he leaves. And Heyman is stunned.
So I didn't miss too much. I did see the majority of that.
Okay.
I guess I just missed the very beginning. But I did see the whole. You're the one. You're the next one. You're the tribal chief
Yeah.
in training. It's like that head coaching job. Oh, when he retires, whoever gets hired after Bill Belichick, the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. Oh, when Belichick retires, you're the next guy.
I'm surprised that kind of took off the way it did after Will Muschamp. Because he was kind of the first one, wasn't
he? Yeah. Yeah, he was. But they do that. And that's what we got here. He's saying, yeah, you're the next guy. You're being groomed to be the next tribal chief. All you got to do is join Roman Reigns, acknowledge him as your tribal chief.
Yeah.
Which he's already done, but now he's got to redo it again.
Right.
And I honestly thought they were going to do the change, the title change. We can talk about that more later.
Okay.
But I thought it was going to happen. I thought
okay.
I was actually fooled. Thought this was actually going to happen because of the story. But yeah, after that segment, and we have Jay. He says he leaves Paul Heyman hanging. We have Asuka. She is about to be crowned with a new title. But before we get there, we have Adam Pearce backstage with Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair says, or before Bianca Belair says anything, Adam Pearce, he says, look, we're about to do this championship presentation for Asuka. I need this to go off without a hitch. You want your rematch? I'll get you your rematch. Just don't interfere in this. Bianca Belair is like, okay, since I'm going to get my rematch, I'll let you have your night. I'll let her have her night. And then she said something that I wanted to point out. And she said, but I just want you to know, once I get my lick back, she had it coming.
Huh?
So that's what Bianca Belair said. So once I get my lick back, she had it coming.
Her lick?
Yes. Now, let's we don't have to dive deep into it, but what it equates to is when someone hits you and then you hit them back, that's you getting your lick back.
Oh, okay.
And weren't we having lawsuits just a little while ago because her taking off her earrings were too ghetto, and now she's talking about getting her lick back?
Well, get my licks in. That's not a ghetto thing.
It was slang.
Well, the way she tried to make it was, but no, I'm gonna lick them good. No, it's actually pretty common.
Okay. I just thought when she said lick, I immediately went to, wait a minute.
Well, without getting in a whole thing, it seems to be that your culture seems to pick and choose what they want to be offended with that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's fine, but taking earrings off is not fine.
Right. Or like next week she'll be out with a bucket of fried chicken, licking her fingers. Not having one problem with that. But then the
Yeah.
next week they'll have her like, hey, can you wear this basketball jersey? What?
I don't want to appropriate my people.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you wear this gold chain? What the fuck?
Or maybe it's just like we don't want to be asked.
I don't know.
But yeah,
Maybe.
she goes out. She goes out to ringside to watch this seemingly Charlotte Flair versus Asuka match.
That is a just real quick. That is a good point. There's a big difference between being asked to do something stupid and doing something stupid on your own. So I never really thought of it that way. So
Yeah. But yeah, Asuka, she goes out to the ring and she is presented with a new world, or I'm sorry, WWE Women's Champion. So,
I think you skipped a bunch of stuff.
no, that's the next
The
thing.
Escobar and Ali.
That's after.
Was it?
Did I mess up the order?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oopsie. We'll pause on that and come back to it later.
Because I got Escobar, Ali, then Sammy and Jay backstage. Then we got the Alba Fire and Isla Dawn segment. Then they had a Iron Sheik package.
Oh,
Bailey and Mia Yim, Karrion Cross was there.
you know what? You're right.
Okay.
They, my mistake. They announced that now Asuka was getting a new championship at that moment that I wrote it down. But she
Gotcha.
actually got the championship later.
Okay.
So as you can see my confusion there.
No. That's what I thought you were talking about at first. That's why I didn't say anything.
So yeah, we have Asuka. They mentioned that she'll be getting a new title. So forget what you just heard. We're going to talk about it later. We go to Santos Escobar versus Mustafa Ali. This is for a Money in the Bank spot. Before the match even starts, LA Knight's music hits and he comes out to the ring to a huge pop, of course. And he is sitting commentary side for this match. Before we get into the match, did you happen to catch what Zelina Vega said about LA Knight?
No. I don't
Oh.
I don't catch anything the American says.
Well, okay. So LA Knight, he was on the bump. You know, their little show, whatever. The bump.
Oh,
And he
yeah. If
was
it has anything to do with that, I definitely didn't see it.
he was running down the roster and just talking about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, so he's talking about the LWO. For
Didn't
some
he call
reason,
him nerdy or some shit?
uh, so I didn't actually catch what he called him,
Okay.
but for some reason, this pisses off Zelina Vega. She fires back at him on social media, and she says, and I quote, "I think he needs to worry less about the gamers and nerds and worry more about being himself. Not The Rock, not Stone Cold Light. He's probably pretty neat under all of that." So
Huh.
that is what she said.
I don't get Stone Cold with him.
Well, you know, because Stone Cold had what and he has yeah, kind
Oh,
of the same ilk.
I
But yeah,
guess.
they she called him The Rock and Stone Cold.
He does sound a
imitating.
lot like The Rock, man.
He does.
Especially when you say he was gonna smack the headset off of Cole's big fat head. It sounded just like Dwayne. I thought it was back in the 90s.
And he does the LA Knight elbow, which is essentially a people's
Yeah,
elbow.
I think he knows. He's into it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's who he modeled himself after, and for good reason. They have more charisma in their finger than 90% of the roster,
Right.
so it works for him. It was just funny that she actually said it. She spoke it into existence. It was just that thing that everybody knew that no one would really say out loud.
Well,
But then
there's an
she said it.
interview where LA or he talks about it, sounding like The Rock and stuff.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
Chris Van Lit. I don't know.
Oh, that dude
Yeah,
who's boy, he gets some interviews. What is he doing? He's just hanging out backstage. Golly. I'm sorry, guys, that you had to hear that, and women. Sorry, audience, that you had to hear that.
Don't you fucking apologize for me. Don't you ever fucking apologize for me.
I'm not, I'm not apologizing for you. I'm just apologizing to the audience that they had to hear that.
Oh, fuck that. Audience knows what they signed up for.
On the back of that, if you still choose, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Probably a bad time to insert that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 300 subscribers. Thank you, everybody who's listened. And there's still time to jump on board if you want to be the 300. If you are the 300th, let us know in the comments below. Who is number 300?
So, what'd you think of Escobar and Ali? Mustafa.
Again, this obviously was going to be a banger match. Put that in quotes, and it did deliver as a good TV match for a WWE presentation. Different, obviously, from like a Gunther Kevin Owens type match,
Mm-hmm.
but it was they had their high flying spots, they had their high impact spots like the Hurricane Rana off of the apron,
It was
stuff
off
like that.
onto the steel steps.
Well, there was one off of the apron too.
Okay. I know there's one where they crashed into the steps. And it looked like Escobar fucked himself up.
Yeah, there was that spot, and then there was another spot with
Okay.
the Hurricane Rana off of the apron.
And I thought that when Escobar dove out to the outside and then Mustafa did that drop kick, the fact that he did the drop kick, that wasn't impressive, but the timing, he was like a little rattlesnake.
Yeah, that was a good spot too. So yeah, they had their banger bomb, and Escobar wins off of the Phantom Driver off of the second rope. Why he needed to do a super Phantom Driver on Mustafa is another question, but there we are.
So he joins Ricochet, Shinsuke, LA Knight in the Money in the Bank match.
He does.
Which right now that tells me that LA Knight is going to win.
Maybe.
I know Riddle and Priest are having a match on Monday. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Priest qualifies.
I think Priest. I think Gunther comes out, and I think he fucks Riddle out of the Money in the Bank thing, and then that's when they officially start their program. That's what makes the most sense to me there.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking Gunther himself. I think it was going to be more Imperium
Well, he
getting
took
back at.
out, he injured Imperium. That's why I think Gunther would come out and do it himself.
Well, I know he injured Vinci, but I don't know if he injured Kaiser.
Okay.
Storyline injury, of course, not like
Right, of course.
actual injury. So
Either way, I don't. You're right. I don't think Riddle wins this,
yeah, and it's going to set up his Intercontinental title thing.
and I don't see anything about SmackDown if there's any more qualifying matches. How many people is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll be 5. So yeah, there has to be one more on SmackDown then.
Yeah, who shall it be? Hopefully, no one that's going to take it away from LA Knight.
It'd be funny if it was Theory.
It would be. And then he wins it again.
Yeah. I'm gonna cash it in myself. A-Town down.
So, yeah, after that qualifier match, we go to a backstage segment. This one, we have Sami Zayn. He's backstage. He's talking to Jimmy Uso. And he's telling Jimmy Uso basically,
Remember, he said it's not his problem.
yeah, it's not his problem. So basically, he's telling Jimmy Uso that what's happening to him right now is what happened to Sami Zayn himself when he joined the bloodline. It was all good, and then the tribal chief started to take over Roman Reigns because he said Roman Reigns is not the problem, it's the tribal chief. When he gets into the tribal chief mode, he becomes paranoid. He makes you always have to prove yourself.
Yeah, he
And
turned the tribal chief into a virus.
yeah, and that's what happened. That's what's happening to you. Like, yeah, you can join the blood, you can, rejoin the bloodline, but he's always going to make you have to reprove yourself. So it is kind of interesting to see that they're kind of doing like what happened to Sami Zayn is now happening to Jey Uso.
Well, yeah, it's basically been the same story.
Yeah, different character, same story.
Right. Which is kind of boring. The only thing that's saving it right now is the possibility that we're gonna get Jay versus Jimmy now.
Yeah, a lot of people thinking Jey is going to stay with Jimmy. I, seeing the story, think Jay should join Roman. First of all, it's going to get him so much heat to turn
Mhm.
on his own brother.
Of course.
And then you prolong the story for a little bit longer because apparently they're trying to get this to WrestleMania. So,
It's so weird though, because Jay's always been kind of, even though he's been in a heel faction, he's always been the kind of the one that's been kind of pure.
yeah,
So for him to side with Roman and not Jimmy, that just, I don't know. It's kind of like Gunther and the roll up. It just doesn't quite jive with his character.
it doesn't, but him being loyal does. Uh,
But wouldn't he be more loyal to Jimmy?
that's the thing. Or maybe this whole, because, Paul Heyman was really putting into him that you're going to be the next tribal chief. So maybe that's just enough to sway him. Like, this all can be mine. I just have to join Roman. And he believes that this is his. He's going to get championships. He's going to get money. He's going to get the movies. He's all being groomed for that. All he's got to do is join Roman, and that's what he thinks until it never happens. Until, like I said, until you get Bill Belichick, and he's still there to this day, and you got Josh Daniel waiting for him to retire, Greg Popovich, and just one of those guys who just never leave. They're supposed to leave, and then they never do. And then Roman will keep, keep manipulating him. It's a good.
Yeah.
I got another one for you. It's like being in a relationship with someone, and they they say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get married," and they put the engagement ring on you. That's just to keep this for you know, and that's just to keep you thinking that this thing is gonna happen, end in marriage at some point. You're gonna be a wife or a husband because they gave you the engagement ring, but turns out you're engaged for 7 years because they never intended to get married to you. Not This is not a personal story. I'm just saying this is what happens to people who some people who think they're going to get married because they get a ring.
Mm. I don't know. I I'm compelled either way. I kind of want to see Jimmy and Jay go at it, but at the same time, it would be nice to see Jimmy and Jay versus the world. And there's possibilities there. Do they bring somebody else in? Do the Usos and do Kevin and Owens and Zayn, do they join forces? And does that cause force Roman's hand to bring more people in? It kind of has to lead to more people, right?
For the bloodline,
Yeah.
uh, I don't know who else you could add that would make sense. Because the only other, as I think, the only other bloodline member in the company would be the Rock's daughter.
No.
So I believe that's the only other person
Keep
that's
her away.
bloodline, unless you bring someone outside. Jacob Fatu, like I said, you
I
bring
think
him in.
there's I think there's one in MLW. I don't he's not nearly as good as Jacob Fatu though.
Well, I'm sure, but yeah, you'd have to bring someone like that in. It's got to be for the bloodline to make sense. It's got to be bloodline. Uh, and then there's also the son of
That's
Rikishi,
not
the
true
other one.
because Sammy was there for a whole year.
Oh, you're right. But what I think is happening here, or how I would at least play it out,
Mm-hmm.
is just as Sami Zayn kind of says. You play the same the same story, you just play with different characters. So now you have Jey Uso. He doubles down. He turns heel. Or he's already heel. He turns heel again by turning on his brother Jimmy. He joins the bloodline, and now the story is him being groomed to be the tribal chief. He's doing all these things for Roman Reigns as Roman Reigns is controlling him. Eventually, he starts to see, or he gets pushed to the point where he can't do it anymore, just like Sami Zayn did. This could lead into the WrestleMania match against Cody. At WrestleMania, you have the Usos, and you may even have Solo turn on Roman Reigns, and they're the ones that officially end the reign of Roman Reigns because they turn on him, they super kick him. Cody gets the Cody gets the finisher or gets the pin, becomes the champion, and we created you and we ended you type deal.
Or Gunther comes in on zip line and just chops Roman Reigns, puts his foot on him, Doesn't even get down on his knees. Just puts his foot on him. 1, 2, 3. Walks out with the belt.
Well, Gunther's going to have another belt by
Yeah.
that time. And it's the one that happens to be being held by Seth Rollins.
That is the nicer of the two belts. It might be the lesser of the two, but it's the nicer of the two.
Well, okay. And that brings up a good. So, and we said that's the secondary title.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever beats Roman will be the guy.
Right.
But if you have Cody Rhodes holding the undisputed title and you have Gunther holding the world heavyweight title, I would say that's about equal. Like that's not a less than.
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like chocolate or vanilla there. Yeah.
Especially if it's the same Gunther that's winning, by himself,
Right.
he will have taken that title to new heights. So at that point, then it's not like it's not a lesser title. This is truly equal.
Yeah. I just know that Seth Rollins ain't gonna. He's not gonna take it anywhere. He might be a good wrestler. Some people might like to sing his theme song, but like, I don't know. He's just not. He doesn't do it for me there.
Well, I'm going to bring it back to my wheelhouse, sports entertainment. We don't have any story around the title. It's just
It's kind of like the U.S.
seemingly,
title where he defends it every week.
yeah, it's just banger matches. I don't want a title of banger matches. I want a title that has a story behind it.
I don't mind it being defended every week, but I I would like it. Like you have a couple cold matches, but then one of those cold matches turns into something. I like that. Like maybe I know he just wrestled him, but like let's say for instance that uh, Priest pulled Seth Rollins' hair or something, and uh, he wanted a rematch. I lost it.
No problem. I'm going to walk back because I just said there's no story, but it seems like there is developing a story between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. So I do take that back. There does seem to be some kind of story to it, but
Yeah, so you
can't be I just defended in banger matches title, and it'd be something that people care about for a long period of time.
get the cold match with Damian Priest and Seth Rollins, and it turns into something with Balor, and it is a legitimate something because Rollins is the reason why Balor wasn't Universal Champion anymore.
Yeah, so it's a nice little run back.
It is, and I like that kind of storytelling where because I like my wrestling to be fucking sports based. I don't need it to be a big fucking commercial for other shit. And so if the sports base turns into something, that's my ideal whatever.
Yeah,
Like two guys wrestle and one guy barely wins. So then the guy that loses, he's like, "Oh no, let's run that back next week." And then maybe the same thing happens or he wins and then it's like, so of course you got to do the go again. And then maybe in the next match they cheat. Like there's the ropes. Puts his foot on the ropes, holds the tights. then it just escalates, and then eventually you get to like the cage match. It all starts from one little wrestling match that meant nothing to begin with. That's my
A
wrestling.
slow build rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how we got back to Seth Rollins, though. I'll be honest.
We were talking about Jey Uso and um, Roman and his belt, and
Oh, when Roman loses the title,
right.
will it be a separate or equal title? But yeah, so to get back on track, sorry guys. Jay, he does have the match set up, and he just talked to Sami Zayn. Next up, we have Albadon or what? Aladon and Alba Fire.
Albadon.
That's their new
Got
name,
Albadon and
Albadon. Yeah, Don, Alba, and Fire. They.
Jesus.
I know. I can't
Alba
fit.
Fire and Isla Dawn.
There we go.
They've
They're in the ring. They get
yeah, they're
or
just there.
they're about to be interviewed by Caleb Braxton, and before they even say anything, Ronda Rousey's music hits. Out comes Ronda Rousey.
Shayna Rousey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they come out. So now we have both tag team champions in the ring. Shayna Baszler starts talking about how she was the reason those titles were created.
Yeah. She says this division isn't big enough for the both of us.
Yes. Well, I think Ronda said that.
No, that was Shayna.
Okay. Ronda, she said something about they've already run through the division so fast that they're hungry again.
Yeah, she did say that.
I will point out though, she did look like a whole snack. Or we're talking
Mm,
about being hungry.
yeah.
She did. She was on point this night.
She's the only she she's the only reason why I hesitate like 5 or 6 seconds before I skip her shit.
And we get the announcement that they have officially challenged Alba Aladon and Alba Fire to a championship unification match for the tag titles.
You're skipping the best part.
What?
So after Shayna says this division isn't big enough for the both of us, Isla Dawn then says, "So you're asking us to do a unified championship match?" Like every single word was an S.
She
Alba,
lisped everything.
yeah, Alba said something. I don't even know what she said. I was too distracted by all the S's.
My family roots were forged in fire. That's probably what she said.
My Scottish warriors.
Yeah.
So then the Alba Fire attack, or they attack Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, and then the MMA girls, of course, get the upper hand at first, and then Isla Dawn kicks Shayna Baszler, and then Alba Fire throws Ronda Rousey out of the ring. So the Goth girls chased off the Jock girls.
Yeah. Who would have thought of that?
Now I'm actually excited for this match now, to be completely frank.
Well, we know the two NXT
Well, not
ladies.
I shouldn't say excited. That let me curve that. But I'm actually interested in watching this match now.
The jocks versus the goths.
It's not even that. I like the fact that, because obviously the way it started, obviously Ronda and Shayna would just beat the shit out of them, right?
Right.
But the fact that Isla and Alba basically chased him off, that shows that they, like, right off the bat, that shows that not only they have a puncher's chance, but they're to be reckoned with. They're not just there. They're not like the tag team that with the dreadlocks that just wrestled on Raw. Fuck, who was it?
Boy, I'm gonna need more than that.
Oh, they had the dreadlocks.
The whole team?
Was it Caden?
Oh, Katana Chance and Caden Carter.
Yeah. Their the first match, they lost.
There's only one of them with dreadlocks.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's all I
Katana
remember.
Chance is white girl. She doesn't have dreadlocks. She does have though a. She used to be a ninja warrior, so there's that. That's Casey Catanzaro. And
Who's the chick? Just real quick, who's the chick with the sparkly sword thing? She's got the leather jacket and the backwards cap. She looks like Ashley Malalio.
uh, from where?
Oh, I'm sorry, NXT.
You're probably talking about Cora Jade.
What the fuck is it?
Was it like a spiky hat?
Yeah,
And she's
yeah,
like a skateboard type chick.
yeah, and she's totally bangable.
Well,
She's a snack too.
yes, you're probably talking about Cora Jade.
What the hell is it she's carrying?
It's a kendo stick, but painted black.
But it's small.
Oh, gee, that's what it was, a kendo stick.
Oh,
It may
okay,
not be anymore, but that's what it was.
okay.
And yeah, so that is 90% you're positive you're talking about Cora Jade.
All right. Moving on.
Moving on. So we got the unification match, and obviously Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will probably win because they're unifying the titles. What that talks about for the NXT titles, I mean, there's not really any tag teams left in NXT. Probably they're going to make some. But I did want to point out that there are two women in NXT that are being groomed to be the next champions and probably the next big deal for wrestling for WWE. Their names are, I don't know, but they are twins. And they're blonde twins.
All right.
They are being groomed. I can see it from a mile away. They are being groomed to be the next big deal. I just I just wanted to go on the record now and tell everybody that right now that because it's gonna happen and everybody's gonna be like, oh, and I want to just put it. We're recording this podcast and it'll be in history forever that I said it, and I said it right now. The day is June 11th, 2023. Those damn twins, blonde bitches, are gonna be the next big thing in wrestling. I don't know why I call them bitches.
I also want to say
They're
that
just girls.
Katana Chance has some braids in her hair, so it's not out of the realm that I would confuse them with dreadlocks. But I think Caden Carter was obviously the more recognizable of the two, so that's probably why I only recognize or say dreadlocks or identify them with dreadlocks.
All right. But to move on from this women segment, because we've we've talked too much about the women already.
Yeah, spent longer on these women than we have like our entire show career.
But I say moving on because we talked about enough about the women. We have another women segment. So right back into the women. This time we have a second qualifier match for Money in the Bank. We have Bailey and Michin. I
Oh, I
mean,
skipped the fuck out of this. I was not interested in hearing them say Meechin 100 million fucking times.
well, I skipped it too because I knew Bailey was going to win.
There you
Um,
go.
like, yeah, I knew Bailey was going to win, so there's no sense in watching the match. Um, but you
No.
did have AJ Styles on commentary, and there was a funny thing where Bailey was like imitating AJ Styles' entrance. So that's that was funny.
Well, there was an
And,
even funnier
uh,
thing where where are you going? Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
well, I was just gonna go to what happened after the match.
To yeah. Go ahead. I lost it.
Yeah, so we have Bailey. She wins off of a distraction. Well, she didn't even get a distraction. She she kind of cheated. She got a rose plant. She wins, and as I said, AJ Styles is sitting out there on commentary. So post match, out of literally nowhere, out comes Scarlett. She blows red uh, powder in AJ Styles' face, blinding him.
And Styles is looking at her like a dumbass. Like he's watching her walk up to him,
Was
put her hand out.
she came out of nowhere. She was like on him before before he could
Yeah,
even
but
react. She was already
she
on
still
him.
came out to his side and she put her hand out and then blew shit in his face. He
Well,
had
I
all
mean,
that time to react. He's a world class athlete. He can fucking duck clotheslines. He can't duck powder, which she's clearly telegraphing it.
to his defense, if a chick like that is walking up to me, I don't care what's in her hand.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
like I don't care what's in her hand. I'm gonna find out what she's walking up to me for.
All right.
We might be about to get it on.
See, you be the guy that wakes up in a bathtub full of ice missing a kidney.
Yeah, and it was like, well, it was worth it. And
Is it?
then, so yeah, she blows the mist or the powder in AJ Styles' face, and then Karrion Cross is there behind the barricade, and he puts AJ Styles in the cross jacket and chokes him. I think he's trying to get him over the barricade, but he didn't. And then he kind of just chokes AJ Styles out, and that's how the segment ends. As Scarlett jumps over the rail and jumps into Karrion Cross's arms, and Karrion Cross is sitting there looking like, "Yeah, you're about to beat me again." TikTok.
But before you do that, we're gonna go fuck.
That stuff she's blowing your face. And, I
That's
got
my
nothing.
dried semen. TikTok.
Yeah, I got nothing. I was gonna go with some kind of. That's our. We put water in that, and that turns into the lube that she uses to.
Oh no, I went with dried semen. It's our collected semen flakes.
Yeah, but it was red.
Well, it's that time of the month, I guess. I don't know.
Wade Barrett, he did call it scarlet fever. So I
All
don't
right.
know, but yes, Karen Cross picks because tries to continue the feud. I don't know if you call it a feud if you haven't beat him, but that's just like Michigan State. I mean, can you call it a feud if you always beat him?
Right.
But he's continuing whatever it is with AJ Styles. Now, after that, we get into Asuka
Well, there's also
and
a
her.
Bel Air segment backstage and a OC segment backstage.
I didn't even watch the OC segment. I'll be
Oh, okay.
honest.
I didn't either, so fuck it. Now we
Yes, championship celebration. So I mentioned before they did the segment with Belair where she wasn't going to come out because she is getting her rematch. Keep that in mind because the segment is going to throw a big wrench into that. So Asuka comes out and Adam Pearce is out there with her. He presents her with a new World Heavyweight Championship. The official name is the Women's Heavyweight Champion. I'm sorry, the WWE Women's Champion. So no Raw Women's Champion, no SmackDown Women's Champion,
which
just the Women's Champion.
which leaves me with a lot of questions.
Yes, it is gonna then ask what happens with Rhea Ripley's title.
Right. Does she get a new belt? Is is it get a new name? Is her belt gonna be like a little white strap version of Seth Rollins' belt?
It would leave you to believe that's where they're going. She's gonna have a new title. They're gonna nick, but yeah. So they're gonna call it the Women's Heavyweight Championship. Well, they can't do that because that's body shaming the women. You call it the Heavyweight Championship. So I don't know what they're gonna call it. Maybe they like. I guess, and they also they don't like the whole divas thing, so you can't call it the Divas Championship.
Nope.
Like we're really out of names here.
And I don't know, man. It just seems like it kind of automatically devalues Ripley's title. And I don't have a dog in the fight. Well, no, I do. I like Asuka, but at the same time, I like Logic, and it just doesn't make sense to me that they would prop up this title when they have two of them.
Well, I think in just time, again, they're gonna debut another title for Rhea Ripley. They're just gonna, strip away the Raw and SmackDown title of it. It's not gonna be like a brand specific title. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be just like a world championship. Um, Maybe that's what they call it, the women's world championship, and then Oscar has the WWE women's championship.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, they're gonna have to workshop the name, obviously.
And
Likely,
the women, especially, they should only have one belt. Everybody should just have one fucking belt, but the women, especially, it's not big enough to have two fucking rosters.
yeah, especially when there's no brand split.
Right. And especially when you have like matches like Shotzi versus who the fuck did she wrestle?
Uh, she lost to
Io
Io.
Sky. Like that's just such a mismatch. Wait until Liv Morgan comes back.
Well, I mean, she's not going for any titles, so
Who?
well, I hope she didn't go for another title again. Shotzi,
Oh. Didn't
like
she try to
so
go to
the
for she just okay, so she tried to she wrestled Ronda for the women's title.
yeah,
And,
inexplicably.
yeah, didn't she just get done with trying to go for the tag team titles?
Yeah, talking about a singles title. She's not getting a singles title.
Oh, well,
And again, they did that because, you know, scary. It was no, not scary. It was War Games. She got the title match at War Games.
Okay.
and you debunked my whole theory that it was because she had a tank that they were putting her on War Games.
Oh yeah. Which is funny because you had a theory as to why Mustafa was at a Clash at the Castle.
I stand by that. And
And the tank thing just never occurred to you. That's all. That's all I'm going with that.
I'm just saying, he was, and
I'm
and
not saying you're wrong.
and he got that title match against Gunther. They weren't in Austin. They weren't in Detroit.
Right.
Where did he get that title match at? They do those things.
Um, but what do you think of the title itself?
So I don't have a big problem with it. I don't care for the look of it, but it just reminds me all this title thing. Just reminds me of playing a video game, and you get the skin in the item shop, and then a few months later they release the same item, just different colors,
Yeah.
and they sell it to you again. That's all that's happening here. They're just reskinning the titles.
It does seem kind of lazy.
Yeah, they did absolutely nothing to change the look.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're going to unveil a new championship and it's just a different color.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of Cody's fault because he was playing around that he's going to bring back the winged eagle, and he got us all excited.
Well, I
Like, oh,
appreciate the World Heavyweight Championship design. That's at least new. You might love it or hate it, but it's new. It's not a reskin. Like, why couldn't they do that with the other belt? Why not just do something different? Why stick to the same shit?
because they're
And
lazy.
well, and furthermore, why would you have? It's the same thing with the women's belt. Why would you not differentiate between the two? If you want it to be its own thing, if you want them to be respected, treat them as their own thing, not as like a lighter version. That's exactly what it is, a lighter version of the main title. Symbolic. The men's title has the black strap. That's the men's.
Yeah,
Women's title has the light strap. That's lighter.
yeah. If there's like, and that's what it is. It's literally Roman Reigns' title, just with a
Yeah,
different colored strap.
they
So
could have done
yes, that would give you
something.
the idea that the Raw side they're going to do. I mean, if the writing's on the wall, they're going to do Seth Rollins' exact title, reskinned as white, and then that's going to be Rhea Ripley's title. And again, what they name they're gonna have to work on that.
Right.
I can't do it for them. They're gonna have to do it. So they got 713 writers.
It's
They're gonna
just
have to
dumb.
do it.
I don't know what they're doing. Like, they're trying to do too much. I think they're trying to be too clever.
I think they're
And
just it's just like changing the system. I guess they just wanted to reintroduce a new wave of titles. I say it's because they introduced these titles so they can get them out in the item shop so people can buy their little replicas.
good luck, man. They're not cheap. I'll just say that.
Well, you can go get
For
one of the
for
plastic
me,
ones. Got one of the plastic ones from like the toy aisle.
I have one of those actually. I have the red Universal belt.
From the toy aisle?
Uh, it might as well be. Yeah.
Oh my.
Well, I wanted a championship belt, and that was the only one I could afford. I
Okay.
went to Monday Night Raw.
and you got the toy title instead of like a real replica.
Yeah.
You're a grown ass man. You got, I know I just said go get a replica. You're a grown ass man. You got to have a real title.
I'm a grown ass man, but I'm not spending $300 to $500 on a fucking
I'm
a
just saying,
wrestling title.
you as an adult, you can't be going with the toy title. You got to have the real
It
deal.
doesn't matter.
I looked up because I wanted to get a replica $1 million title. Golly,
Uh,
that thing, it might as well be $1 million.
well,
Yeah,
the thing
yeah, it was
about it
like
though,
six
would I
hundred
look any
dollars.
ridiculous carrying a toy title versus wearing a title?
Well, I'm just saying, you're an adult. You gotta have the real. You gotta have a real thing when you're an adult. That's
Yeah.
the that's the kids' titles. Just they're toys.
Well, the toy was affordable.
They probably thought you had.
After
They
after
thought you
the
probably had mental issues. Oh, look at him wearing that toy.
after forking over the tickets and the parking and the snacks, and I think I got a T-shirt or something. Yeah, I got a T-shirt.
Yeah,
It wasn't quite in the cards
to get the real deal.
to get a hundreds of dollars on a replica, not even a real one, a replica of the championship of my choosing.
Yeah, it gets you. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I was looking at the $1 million title. Maybe one day down the road I'll be able to get it. It's just too expensive
Man.
at that time. But yeah, that's the new introduction of the belt. Now, after the belt was presented to Asuka, that basically rang the dinner bell to let Charlotte Flair know there's a new title, and without hesitation, her music plays over the PA system and down to the ring walks Charlotte Flair. Now,
I,
remember, oh, go ahead.
I just want to say that I said this last week that they probably gave Asuka the belt just for Charlotte. Not
Well,
necessarily in those words, but that's basically who they're saving Asuka's title for.
yeah, and so yeah, remember she was on vacation, but her vacation was cut short because there was a new title introduced. She was back on TV, and she walks out to the ring. She basically challenges Asuka for the her new title. Adam Pearce says, "Wait a minute, there's a line. You got to get in line." Charlotte Flair has this line that says she made the line. Woo!
Woo!
And you had the idiots in the attendance wooing along with her.
She doesn't do it nearly as well as Rick does.
Yeah. But yeah, you have the idiots in attendance wooing along with her, encouraging all this. And Charlotte Flair officially challenges Asuka. I think Asuka accepts. She went in Chinese, so or Japanese, whatever it is.
It's Japanese.
Yeah, she went full Japanese and then said something in English at the end. So I think she said she accepted, and she tried to blow mist in Charlotte's face. Charlotte ducked it, and
She gave her the big boot.
yes, fought off Asuka. That's how the segment ended. Now, I did mention right before the segment, and I said hold on to this. I mentioned Bianca Belair was just promised a rematch, and then now you have Charlotte Flair just waltzing out there. Forget about the rematch. Charlotte Flair just walks out there, says she's the front of the line now because she doesn't wait in line because she is the line. She made the
Woo!
line. So I guess where are we going with Bianca now? Obviously, that the writing on the wall here is that Charlotte's going to challenge Asuka. Bianca is going to interfere. Maybe Bianca is going to be the heel in this whole thing, and then her and Charlotte are going to go off and do a program on their own, probably for SummerSlam. That seems to be where they're going.
Oh, see, I thought they were Charlotte wins against Asuka, and then that turns into Charlotte versus Belair.
Oh, and just fuck you, Asuka. You did. We're done with you. Get back out. Get back to the line.
Yeah, because I can totally see them doing that.
Well,
Because they can't even give her like a whole moment with her new championship. Like she was supposed to have a moment in WrestleMania, but they fucking dicked her out of that. So just so Bianca, the lesser talent, could have a certain amount of days with her fake reign. So she finally gets her belt back, and they give her like a new championship belt, not necessarily made for her, but it's made during her reign. And as she's awarded it, Charlotte just gets to come out, steal her moment, and then basically schedule a date later in the on that Asuka's going to lose, more than likely. It's kind of
yeah.
insulting.
I mean, I think they're just. I think this is just a troll job. They're throwing Charlotte out there because this just happened with Ronda Rousey,
Okay.
and it happened with other people. The other way I saw it going was it being a triple threat match. Um, and I guess to skip forward a little bit, right after the segment, backstage, Adam Pearce is backstage. In walks Bianca Belair, and before she even says a word, he's like, "I'm gonna figure it out," and she just like leaves after that.
You
So
better.
yeah,
Before
so
I got my licks in.
so maybe they're gonna do like a triple threat match. Then Asuka wins that. That's one way of going about it. Or, like I said, um, Bianca Belair costs Charlotte Flair the title because she's upset that Charlotte Flair skipped in line, and then they go off on their own thing, and then Asuka can still be champion, still have a run. Or option three is they go down back to Charlotte. Asuka, thank you for your time. We'll validate your parking.
I just think that they would value Charlotte versus Belair with the title involved more than
For SummerSlam.
yeah.
It does
And
also kind of because it's Charlotte Flair, so they gotta pad those numbers. So it does also then would make sense that she gets like a short title reign up until SummerSlam to add that to the tally of whatever championship number reign she's on, and then she in history can say that she has held this title too.
and totally unrelated, but I found out the reason why Asuka dresses like a 70s porn star as she's emulating how some Yakuza dress,
Okay.
which I found kind of interesting.
Well, if I knew who that was, I'm sure it would be for me too.
Yakuza is the Japanese mafia.
Oh, the video game person?
No, the actual Japanese mafia.
Oh, but there's a video game.
Yes, there is a video game called Yakuza.
Okay. But that's based off of a real person.
I have no idea. I've never played it.
I haven't either.
It might be based off of like the organization that is. It's kind of like GTA.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I gathered from it. I could be wrong though. Like I said, I've never played it.
I never played it either. Maybe we'll put it on the playlist.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So yeah, that's the brunt of that segment. We will see where they're going with that. We go backstage again. We have now Paul Heyman and Jey Uso. They're talking backstage. Heyman says that the tribal chief will be in the house next week, live on SmackDown, and they'll have a dual celebration. They'll be celebrating Roman Reigns as tribal chief because Jay is going to re-acknowledge himself to the tribal chief, and Jay will also be the U.S. Championship holder and the tribal chief in training, and they will acknowledge that as well. But first, Paul Heyman says, "I need you to agree to this deal." And Jay and this, it didn't. I don't know. They didn't play it up enough as I thought they would have. But Jay, he basically says, if I join, I don't know what you're so happy about all this, because if I join the bloodline, it's because you won't be in it anymore. So he's saying, he's gonna Paul Heyman's out if he's in.
Right.
So
Which I didn't know they had beef.
yeah, I didn't really get that part of it, and the fact that they didn't really like blow that way out of proportion.
Right.
Like, oh, Roman Reigns is gonna have to choose Jay or Paul Heyman. So it was a weird little thing that they threw in there. Another weird line, just to go back to the women's title segment. Another weird thing, Charlotte Flair, in a weird way, for some weird reason, said um, when she wins the title from Asuka, she can carry the Raw title around too. That was weird. Why did she say that?
Yeah, she got pointing to it as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and she's like, "When I win this title, you can give me that one too." Like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? The
Right.
title's gone now.
Yeah, that was really confusing. It's like she. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it was
Or
like.
maybe that was just like some kind of shoot thing, or
I don't know.
just her like being funny or something. Like, not that she doesn't want to carry it around. She just says, "Give me that title too, so I can put it on my mantle." Or I don't know. I
I
just
just
didn't
think.
get it, and they didn't really play it up enough.
I just think the plastic surgeon got to her brain the last time she went in.
Probably she comes back less and less Charlotte Flair.
Oh my god.
Like, oh, she loses like 5% every time she goes away, or maybe like 10%.
There's pictures out there that just do the before and after of her with the plastic surgeries.
And now she's not even recognizable.
No.
Like, you saw her in a lineup, you'd be like, "Who is this? Is not the same person."
Yeah, I always like would avoid. Yeah, avoid it.
Yeah, it reminds me. Never mind. I don't want to. I don't want to say that story. It ain't gonna do nothing but make me sound like a creeper. So we're gonna move on then to Baron Corbin versus
Oh yeah,
Butch. This is another qualifier for Money in the Bank.
I skipped this one.
Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, they were at ringside behind the barricade. The match went 2 minutes, if that. So you had finger bang. Oh, you had Butch, what you call finger bang. He did his finger breaking thing on Baron Corbin that immobilized Corbin's hand enough to where he was rolled up and he couldn't kick out because his hand was in such bad in such a bad way that he couldn't kick out. I don't know, but and also, there was technically a distraction because the Carmelo Hayes was out there. Anyway, 2 minutes, Corbin loses, and that is that. It's not really much to say about that the whole thing.
I don't know why they would be scared of him in NXT.
Well, because he keeps losing, that's why. And then we have Io Sky and Shotzi. They also have a qualifier match. Uh, Io wins. This match went like 4 or 5 minutes. It was longer than the Corbin match.
Yeah, it was pretty
But
unremarkable though. Like it was there. The only thing that of note is there was a spot where Bailey pushed Shotzi off the turnbuckle and the back of her head hit it.
yeah, that was a great looking spot.
Oh, I don't know if that I don't know if that was like a brain damage spot or not.
Well, I mean, for me, every time Shotzi dives, I think she's going to break her neck. So
Oh well.
there's that. But she loses. Io Sky is qualified. Uh, yeah, not really much more to say about that. We go then to a Austin Theory backstage interview. He starts saying about how Roman Reigns is pulling the string to get Jey Uso a match, and he's going to beat Jey Uso like he beat John Cena at WrestleMania. And hey, who knows? Maybe Paul Heyman will be interested in a new client once he gets kicked out of the bloodline. So he even mentioned what Jay said, and he said, and Paul Heyman, you might you might be interested in experiencing Austin Theory live. So yeah,
So at what point can we expect him to not bring up John Cena anymore?
uh,
Like I feel like it's kind of getting old. Like okay, move on, dude.
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much all he has. If I'm being honest, like since this whole title reign, that's pretty much all he's done because he keeps winning via disqualification or lucking into a win or something. Something is helping him. So really, all he has to hang his hat on is beating John Cena.
Okay. I would just I don't know. It just seems like it's getting overplayed.
It is. It definitely is. But I think it's because he has nothing else.
Okay.
Oh, I did skip over a segment before we get to the main event. You kind of already alluded to it. So we had another segment where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were actually backstage. They were talking to each other, and they get interrupted by Pretty Deadly. And Pretty Deadly
Oh yeah.
mentions that they want the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Also, then in comes who else was there? The OC, the Street Profits.
Yeah, it was the Street Profits came. The OC came for some reason.
Oh, the Brawling Brutes.
Brawling Brutes, yeah, it was them. They were next, and like basically a whole
And
bunch, all the
LWO.
tag teams.
Yeah, and LWO. Missing from that lineup was Hit Row, but they don't win.
And Imperium.
Well, they're on SmackDown. They're on Raw.
Oh,
This
yeah,
was for
you're right. You're
SmackDown,
right. You're right.
and yeah, they they all enter the frame. Adam Pierce makes a gauntlet match between the 5 teams for next week. Winner will face Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Well, they'll lose to them because they're not going to beat them. Doesn't even matter who it is. But it'll probably be the Street Profits or Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
And then that takes us to the main event. We got Austin Theory versus Jey Uso for the United States Championship. Um, it was obviously it was a good match. Jey Uso and Austin Theory are two people who can put on a good match. There were a couple of near falls, so you thought Jay was going to win, and then it turned into what it always turns into. We got interferences. So Jimmy, he comes out. Uh, was the ref? I don't remember. Was the ref down?
Yeah, the ref got bumped.
Yes.
And then Pretty Deadly came out and attacked Jay. And then Jimmy immediately came out.
To help his brother.
And then
And
Solo
then out comes Solo.
Yeah. Solo came out like a bear.
Yeah. And he
Um,
goes to spike Jimmy. And before he does, you get Jay Uso. He stops the spike. And now there's a standoff between him and Solo. Jimmy, he goes to super kick Solo, but Solo moves out the way. He super kicks Jey Uso. Solo hits Jimmy with the spike. No, that was after.
did he hit him with a spike?
You know what? I don't remember it now.
I felt like
No, no, he got the better of him this time.
he threw him out of the ring.
But I forgot what happened to Jimmy. To where he did Austin Theory hit him.
Maybe. I don't
Anyway,
know.
we're getting bogged down in the details here. Just know, Jimmy super kicked Jay accidentally, and that is what led to Austin Theory getting the pin. He didn't even hit his own move. He won purely off of that super kick. So Jimmy cost Jay the match. Post match, Jimmy, uh, you have Jay sitting in the ring. Jimmy tries to console him because again he just cost him the match. Jay, he pushes Jimmy away because he's upset that he just lost his match. Outside of the ring, you have Paul Heyman and Solo. They're watching along. And then Jay, he leaves the ring. So he leaves his brother in the ring. And then he walks past Heyman and Solo. So he doesn't even join either group.
Yeah, he
He
just
just
waves
walks
his hands at
past.
all of them.
Yeah. And then you have as we go off air, you have Heyman talking to his phone. He says, "Call the tribal chief," or "Call Roman Reigns," is what he said.
Right.
And that's how we go off the air for SmackDown. So we got more story coming up here. Is Jay going to join the bloodline, or is he going to join his brother? Interesting to see where we go with that.
I agree. I think I just want to see Jay and Jimmy go at it, man. Just because it hasn't been done before. They've been in the WWE for so long. They haven't had one
Yeah,
match. And
and
to
like
me
I
that's
said, I
compelling.
think
I always like
oh, go
they
ahead.
basically do like a Owen Brett thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the move here is to have Jimmy join Roman Reigns. Will
Really?
they do it? It remains to see. I'm sorry, to have Jay join Roman Reigns. You may even have Jimmy join off of that because you take my brother away from me. I'm falling in line because I can't be. So you have the match between them, but then you still have Jimmy's like I can't be apart from my brother, so I'll fall in line, and then that can lead to the the rift. But interesting where they're going with all of it.
I'm here for it. I will say that they did a good job of kind of making you forget that they just completely made the wrong decision on the Cody Roman match. Because
I don't know if they did.
yeah, they did, but they
I don't know if they
you
did.
kind of they did, but you
Whoa,
kind of
whoa, 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 whoa.
yeah
How did they?
make the wrong decision.
Yes. What about this story tells you that that was the wrong decision?
Who's Roman feuding with?
No one.
Okay,
Well, he's feuding innerly with the bloodline,
no, who's he feuding with?
but that's not about the story. Is not about his title right now. It's about him being the tribal chief.
Then he shouldn't be having the title.
But he needs the
That's
title.
my thing. He shouldn't be champion because he's not defending it.
But he
He's not a
is
champion.
the.
He's
There's
not.
no
No,
tribal chief
he's
without
not.
being champion.
He's been whittling away with the fucking tag teams, and he's playing telephone with Heyman. He's eating sushi on his private jet. No,
But I'm
fuck him.
saying there's no tribal chief without being the champion.
Okay,
That's number one. Number two, it's a different. There's a different story if he loses at WrestleMania. The 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 week he came back from WrestleMania, the story was you guys failed. I put you in the main event and you failed. Now, if he wasn't champion, he can't. That story doesn't happen. There's no you failed. It's we failed. That's a different story than you failed. I'm the tribal chief. You failed. That leads into the tag team match. I'm gonna do it myself because you guys are fuck ups.
that's okay. I'd sacrifice what we're having right now for Cody's redemption arc.
Well, you are in
Think
my
about think about how exciting the whole Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes feud would be if the title was at stake.
well, they could have had the other title at stake.
What other title?
The new one.
No,
World
the title that he beat Roman for. Now it's at stake against Brock Lesnar, the Beast. Cody's first reign, his first challenge on his first reign, he's decimated by a stronger, faster Lesnar.
Well, I'm just saying
Roman
the
Reigns
more
does not
important
need the belt.
story right now
He doesn't need the belt.
is the tribal chief. And I mean I guess we're gonna have to disagree on this. I think you don't have a tribal chief without being a champion.
Well, and I think that Cody Rhodes should have won. That was the better story.
Okay. Speaking of story, what was your match of the? Uh, what was your sports? I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you what your match of the week was.
Okay.
It was Gunther and Kevin Owens because that was
No.
everybody's match of the week. What was your sports entertainment moment of the week?
Um. Well, I'd have to say it's the whole bloodline thing. As much as I shit on Roman, that they're speaking truth when they say that the Usos are the heart and soul of the bloodline because um they're kind of keeping the story going, at least for me. I've never been on the Roman train though. In case
You
that's
don't
not
say.
obvious. Yeah.
Well, I also go with the Usos. Jimmy being groomed as the next tribal chief, maybe or maybe not. The potential there. That is my sports entertainment moment of the week. Um, on that note, let me just look and see if we got any stories
I didn't see very many.
that we. I mean, we kind of did go over a lot of the stories.
I think we covered most of them.
Um, so we got There was a story about Lacey Evans.
Oh yeah, I love Lacey Evans. She is quickly becoming like my favorite female wrestler, legit, because she's such a cunt.
And that's
So
her character.
apparently that's her. I can see her being just naturally a cunt, and it's great. I love it. I love every bit of it. So apparently her new outfit with the hat that pissed off Sergeant Slaughter's daughter. So she tweeted out, "Oh, there's only one real Slaughter daughter, or whatever the fuck." And it's funny because, well, Lacey Evans, she replied back. She said, I'm your dad's favorite wrestler. You know where to find me." And then yeah, they just had some back and forth on Twitter. Now the funny thing is that Sergeant Slaughter, of course, never served at any branch of the military. I don't even know if he was a Cub Scout.
Correct.
Lacey Evans, of course, is on record as being a Marine. What she did as a Marine, don't know, can't tell you, not my business. But if anybody has a right to, if anybody has a right to play soldier, it would be a soldier, right?
Right.
So, but I just love that she seems to get punched at a lot, and she just takes it and punches right back. That's she is an empowering woman.
Yeah, and I don't know what all the people just don't like her. I don't know what it is. Well,
Because she's
obviously, I know what it is, but I don't want to get into that here.
because she's a cunt.
Well,
People,
she says things on
well, there is that
on the
too, but
internet.
she comes across as a cunt, and she's very good at it, and she does it well, and it's entertaining to me because some of the shit she says, she's like a little rattlesnake.
Yeah, and she's always in character, which is what you always gotta love.
Maybe I could see that just being her. I could see her saying just being that fucking asshole or dickheaded, dickheadish. What the fuck? What's the word I'm looking for? God, it's late.
I don't know. I got you.
But I just think I don't know. I think Sergeant Slaughter's daughter's chin needs to just go elsewhere. She don't know what she's talking about. It's a fucking hat.
Yeah, and it was not even was. 'Cause, I mean, I guess I can see the Sergeant Slaughterism to it, but obviously they're trying to make her into like a female Sergeant Slaughter. So
Sure, and she had the cadence and how she spoke, but like I don't know. Sergeant Slaughter wore a black tank top too. Lacey Evans, I just want to see what she looks like without the tank top. So I mean, there's there's so many differences. It's,
yeah,
it's like apples and oranges.
I don't get it, but she does get a lot of hate.
She does.
And then on the final note of the evening, um, I didn't talk about this in the segment of SmackDown, so I wanted to give him his own little rub here. We do have sad news to go out on. We did learn that the Iron Sheik had passed away.
Do you know what
So,
of yet?
uh, not yet, but definitely sad news there. He was definitely one of those. I mean, he's what Mustafa
Wants to be
only can hope to be.
right.
Like I would say he's like the mark of like that type of heel.
He's
So
one of them. Yeah.
I mean, for me, that was just like the first guy that I really recognized as like a heel that wasn't that was foreign, and essentially he was heel because he was foreign. This is what I was getting, because they'd have him always waving the flag. He'd have his camel clutch. He had his boots with the loop thing,
Yeah. Yeah, the
and
little the clubs.
yeah, and he just seemed to be the
America hot
heel.
toy.
Yeah, he was heel because he was not American, and that was like the first person that I remember that being the shtick was.
Well, he was heel because he was anti-American. It wasn't because he was. It wasn't because he was American. Or wait, it wasn't. It wasn't because he wasn't American. It's because he was here, and then he shat on being
Yeah,
here.
and then they do things like then Bret Hart going Canadian overly Canadian during his heel run, and Hacksaw
That's
Jim Duggan.
that's because it's one of the better. It's one of the best stories in wrestling, or just in general. Just you have an outside adversary shitting on your homeland, and you got to defend it.
Yeah, and see, so something like that, and I don't even remember it being for the title, but I remember just being like when it was like Sergeant Slaughter versus Iron Sheik,
Mhm.
and it was like, oh, he's fighting for America. Hulk Hogan fighting for America. But my bigger one was like Sergeant Slaughter, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, them fighting Iron Sheik. They're like defending the country. They ultimately to get put in the camel clutch
Right.
and lose. It was like, oh, he's what a dastardly heel.
I just remember, I will fuck you in the ass and make you humble.
Sure, he said that on TV.
I'm sure he did, actually. Not Vince's TV.
Yeah.
I've heard him say it quite a bit on a television.
But if you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments. If you agree with anything, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out, to hit the subscribe button. Let us know if you're the 300th subscriber. And was there anything else?
Just have a good night, everybody. Have a good week.
Have a good week. And until next time, Top Guys out.